Belinda, who came in about a half an hour ago. She's standing in the back corner. Two things are going on here. Let me address this young lady's statement first. Number one, I am really, really thoroughly impressed with what's going on. Her question is, how come we can't have more of these types of meetings?
No, that's not what I asked.
Well,
No.
Hold on, let me let her word it exactly.
I just want to be clear that I think this is great this many people are here, but I'd like to know how often, you get a bunch of people out and they're all, enthusiastic, and how often things actually go against them and for them when there's this many people behind it, like in your experience. Do you know what I mean?
Well, going for them and going against them, my position here is to represent you, whether I agree with you or not. If the majority says they want to endorse this plan, I may not like that, but that's what I have to do because that's who I represent. All right. Number two, the second part of this is I'm a little concerned with things that we endorse. For example, when we talked about these things here, first of all, I'm trying not to gun this to death here, but the reality is, for 9 years now, I've been going to more meetings than I can even count. Most of them are ZBA meetings, Zoning Board of Appeals. Most of them are planning board meetings, and that has nothing to do with all the other meetings that we're required to be at. All right? Jim Treadwell and myself, when I first became a council, was first running. We were working on the NRCC. This particular zoning document that we're working on now, we've only been working on that for 6 or 7 months. The NRCC we've been working on for, what, 3 to 4 years?
2006.
It was finalized, but I mean, that took a lot of years to do, and that was with all of the neighborhood input, all of you voicing an opinion saying, this is what we like, this is what we don't like. We would take that to a meeting, it would be debated. We'd then bring it back out, add the input that you gave us, and we'd go from there. The problem with that is Paul Prevey back in the audience? Is Paul here? Paul Prevey is the councilor of Ward 6. And in as much as they like to say, during even the current meetings down with Bridge Street, the city planner loves to use the word NRCC because theoretically, that's a document, that's a model document. The problem with that is 28 Goodhue Street. Even with the approved zoning that the council approved, 28 Goodhue Street was approved by the ZBA at 2.5 times the written rules for density. Salem, Slade, Bonfanti, Leather. What's the multiple on that, Jim? At least 2. About 2.5 times the allowed zoning. Right now, we're looking at Legacy Place. Quite honestly, Legacy Place, I mean, our Councilor Sargent was furious with that one. All of the councilors here, we put together a package on the PUD, the Planned Urban Development, Planned Unit Development, excuse me. It didn't even get written the right way that we said it. There's actually 3 versions: the original version, the version that the council agreed to, and the version that was actually printed. The version that was printed that everybody made their decisions with was not what we agreed to as to the definitions. All right? Councilor Sargent is livid with that because it just doesn't fit there. Now all of a sudden they're at, what's the multiple of that one over allowed zoning? I don't even know. The problem is when we say something in the council and we allow a particular zoning level, our 2 throughout the rest of the city is 6 units per acre. They started with 12 units here, and they've compromised to bring it down to 8, but that's still higher than the 6 that the rest of the city has. All right? Then all of a sudden, now, they're going to come back and they're going to go 2.5 times as an average, and then the planning board is going to even support that? Because every time we go to one of these meetings, all the councilors in the back row can attest to this. We go in there, we go to fight to protect the neighborhood. We go in there to fight the quality of life in the neighborhood. And we're fighting our own selves here because the planning board goes in to the ZBA, they go into the planning board, the planning department says, we support this. What does that do to the zoning that the neighborhood group told us to adopt? It blows it out of the water. Adi, do you want to speak to that? I mean, you know,
So they're usurping your authority then, the planning board, even though the people don't want it. You vote against it.
They can do that.
They're a separate non-elected entity that is selected by
That
the
is
mayor.
entirely the problem. They're non-elected. They're an appointed board that don't have to answer to anybody.
And they're pushing the smart growth, sustainable development policy and kicking the numbers up.
That's what the scary part here is. I am not opposed to redoing Bridge Street. I think it's a wonderful idea, and I don't think anybody here wants to be opposed to that.
They're gonna
It's
cut
at the same time that we do that, do we want to destroy our neighborhoods? That's what I'm fighting.
Right.
All right, I don't want that to happen, and I want Bridge Street redeveloped, I want the derelict properties gone away, and if I even go back to the 96 document, the 96 document says right in it, the biggest problem is absentee landlords, all right? That's a huge problem. Councilor Sargent put it best, he put it, it was called the give a damn factor. You have a renter, they throw trash on the street, I mean, where's Dave? Dave Mendel, is he still here?
Oh, he just left.
He just left. He's a self-appointed, unfortunately, janitor of March Street because he goes down there and he has to pick up everything because there's just so many people there that don't give a damn. They throw things around. I get the phone call, can you send the city down? Well, the city doesn't want to set precedent, so they don't. So he goes out and all of a sudden he's cleaning up March Street. It's the give a damn factor. You know yourself, if you own your house, you care what the outside of your house looks like. Right? You go out there, you rake the leaves, you pick up the trash. I mean, I do it, and I'd like to think that everybody in this room does it. I know I can bet dollars to donuts here. No pun intended there. I bet you he picks them up, and I know that everybody here that's a homeowner does as well. Let's get back a little bit now. We've kind of gone full circle here. Let's get back to this. I happen to be an officer here with this club. I'm trying to save this club. So on a little sidebar, if you want to join, that's fine with me too. And we'll give you membership over here. The other part of this is on a monthly basis, whether or not we have an official topic to discuss, or if you just want to come down just to hear what's going on within the city. I'm going to probably be setting up a once-a-month meeting here. Come down and talk with me. I will invite any councilors that you want me to invite. I'll invite the entire council. If it's more than so many people, I have to post a meeting at that point if the councilors are going to talk to it. However, I mean, the reality is the fact that even the councilors are here is an important piece because technically, some points I agree with, some points I disagree with what the mayor has said. My belief is there's 349,000 units, and each unit has at least 2 people in it. That's over 700,000 people to be divided among the 4 cities between now and 2030. That's the plan. 24 cities, excuse me. Naturally, some cities are larger than others, but so we're not going to get 1/24 of that. But even if we were to only get 1% of that anticipated growth, that's at least 7,000 people. Thanks, but no thanks. All right, and here, this doesn't just apply here. It applies to Satella Lane. It applies to that 18 acres undeveloped up by Fort Lee.
Does it? Not as part of Gateway City, though, correct? Because Gateway City doesn't.
Gateway City, you need to understand, like the mayor was saying, it's not all-inclusive.
No.
You have to declare a district.
Correct.
All right.
But that district has to be within a mile of the train station? Is that correct?
Theoretically, yes.
So that is this
that means
neighborhood.
that Councilor Prevy's ward is especially at risk. I mean, I remember when I
you're
first
right.
came on
Yeah.
board, there was 5 properties over there just on the other side of the overpass.
Yeah.
You have the HMA property,
Yeah.
you have Byers, you have Burnham, and then you have
Cheaple area.
I can't even think, the place where all of us went as kids to get pots for our cars. There's 5 properties across that piece. When I first became a counselor, I was horrified because they were coming in with a proposal to put, I think it,
165 units.
no, that wasn't that. It was a whole lot more than that. It was, what's the thing again? It was 555 units, something like that. It was a ridiculous proposal. It was essentially what they want. It was the same thing as building another JPI, all right, on the other side. Then we had discussions about traffic, about can we put a stop sign at the bottom of the overpass, and then Mass Highway came in and said no. There were so many discussions going on that when it went crazy, but anyways, the developers went away because there was a public outcry to that, all right? Now we have this thing going on over here at Legacy Place. I mean, we're going to be doing that, what, Wednesday, I think it is, tomorrow?
Where is that Legacy Place?
Legacy Place is the old Salem Oil and Grease building.
Oh, okay.
And I need to tell you, Jerry Ryan, he's at Ground Zero. He lives right there. Councilor Jerry Ryan lives there. He's going to be fighting the fight that we're fighting here. All right. I don't want to get off track. Basically, the bottom line is, yeah, we need to have more community meetings. Absolutely. I couldn't agree anymore. All right, because there's so much out there. There's so much misinformation out there. It's better because not everybody here can attend all the meetings that we're required to be at. All right, and at these meetings, it's unbelievable what you learn at the meetings. This gentleman hasn't spoken yet.
I just want a point of clarification. We were talking about the council can vote against something, okay? But your authority is usurped by this unelected board of people, or this unelected planning board or zoning board, who can take it from 8 units per acre to 20 units per acre, and, you know, triple the number of people that's in there. But I'm still amazed that you're saying, you vote on something, and they can come around through the back door and take that vote away and say, screw you folks, we're gonna do what we wanna do. Is that what you're saying? Nothing personal, I didn't really mean that. But I mean, is that what you're saying? So it's an unelected small...
Essentially, the answer to that is yes. However, I need to give you one more little caveat to that. I have currently a council order in one of the committees that we have to limit what the zoning board of appeals can do. And I think it was to limit them to 150%, I think it was. And I actually want it lower than that, right? Because if you have an area that can legally have 2 spots in it, and a developer comes in and wants to flip it and put 3, that's fine. But if a spot, you know, that would be possibly acceptable, possibly. But even that would require parking, and parking is a major issue throughout this entire ward. Actually, it's throughout the entire city. All right? The big thing here is if you had places to do, I don't want to get off track, I'm getting way off track. The bottom line is, yes, can they do that? Yes. Can they usurp our authority? Yes. Jay?
How do we fix that?
Yeah.
We're in the process of trying to fix that now. We need enough council to say no. All right, the biggest problem is when they come up for reappointment, rather than just blindly say yes, all right, we should say, hey, here's your voting record. You've tried to destroy this neighborhood, this neighborhood, this neighborhood, and this ward, and this ward. No, your reappointment will not be approved.
But to this gentleman's point, how do we as citizens help influence the decision of the zoning board?
You can't.
We can't at all.
You
We
can't.
can't petition.
But you go and protest.
You can go to your,
Protest. If
Protest,
it's
but-
something in your neighborhood, you can go and protest. You can stand up and say, look, we don't want this in our neighborhood.
At the zoning board meeting.
yeah,
Absolutely.
but the thing is, you can't just go there arbitrarily.
No.
You have to have a standing.
Yes.
In other words, you have to be in a butter or in a butter to an abutter to have a real standing. Other than that, I mean, you're just a concerned citizen.
But I am
The
an
biggest
abutter.
standing you have is when somebody wants to do something in your backyard.
And that is
That's
my
when you have
backyard.
the ability
No,
to
literally,
go.
it's his backyard.
Literally, my backyard.
Oh, I know where you live, in Cromwell.
Yeah.
But is there any golden ticket for Salem State University to step in and maybe want to get involved and suck up any of these parcels as well? Because as they've been known to do.
That's a multiple problem. I don't think that there's any interest in Salem State University to come down to this neck of the woods.
Okay,
Right, but
just throwing it out
but
there.
who knows? I mean,
We know what
the
they've
biggest
done
problem with
to
that
other
is we
parts of
lose
the
tax
city.
base every time that happens. Yes, Ann?